I'm so excited to have everyone here. I guess we're all going to learn how to change the world, change ourselves, learn how to make changes in other people. Isn't that right? Wow, that's pretty cool. Well, the seminar, how we're going to do it is basically how I always do the seminars. We're going to go for an hour, take a break, 5 or 10 minutes. Of course, this is the training course, and so it's real important, guys, for you to be familiar with what's in your book. Know the meridians, know the healing attitudes, definitely know the protocol for tapping. And of course, this course here is a part one of a 3-part series. And this part is basically, I want to give you the skills and understanding the belief system about a healer and understanding how to make changes and understanding what problems are and how we create problems, and also creating the basic tapping skill, which, you know, it was about 1999 when I bought the EFT course, and that's the Emotional Freedom Technique. And of course, at the time, my life, you know, I was married at the time, and there was a lot of emotional things going on. And of course, I was talking to my wife. I said, you know, our problems really is basically from our past. You know, it's that stuff that you can't talk about. It's the emotional stuff. It's those events that, I mean, she can't even go there. And so what I did is I started looking for therapy, some form of therapy. And so what I did is I looked through the phone book, and I'd call people, and I found this guy. Now, he used guided imagery, and someone told, I think you was, Freddie, what did you call that technique? That transpersonal therapy. And basically what he would do is walk her down into a meadow, and then he'd have a guide or a helper. You know, for her it was her grandfather in a place, and then certain things would change. And so during that time period, I started reading everything I could read about sexual abuse, emotional traumas, post-traumatic stress, guided imagery, hypnosis. I mean, I was on a frenzy because I wanted to know how and why we have problems. Now, of course, when I was like, you know, 14 or 15 years old, I mean, I came into this world. My mother was 14 years old. She ran away from home at 15. She came home, gave birth to me. I have no idea who my biological father is. And my stepdad came in my life. Now, my stepdad was the oldest of 9. Now, my stepdad's father was an alcoholic, and the mother was the type who would marry an alcoholic. So there was a lot of stuff, a lot of trauma. At one point in his life, all the kids were put in different homes. And so he had a lot of anger, a lot of emotional hurts. And so he came into my life when I was about 6 months old. Of course, this is my dad, the only dad I've ever known. And of course, you know, when we come into this world, we're learning machines. I mean, we don't even know what a fist is. You've seen the little babies, they can't even find their fist. And over a period of time, they learn what the fist is, and they can find their fingers, and next thing you know, they're crawling on their hands and their knees, you know. And I can remember my daughter when she had Grace, you know, and she couldn't even stand up. She couldn't crawl, and the next thing you know, she's on her knees and she's rocking back and forth, and she can't figure out how to make one in front of the other. And the next thing you know, she's crawling, and then she'd be walking around, standing up, you know. And each one of these were pivotal points in her life. And now you can't shut her up, and she's running all over the place. But that's what babies do. They're always asking questions and all this stuff. She's 2 years old now. But as children, we come into this world, and we're just innocent. We don't know how to operate within the world. And so my father and my mother obviously had problems. But to them, that was just how life was. That's all they know. That's all they have now to perform. And so when we come into this world, we take in whatever comes in, and we believe it to be gospel truth, whatever that truth is. And so events happen, and events occurred. My wife and I were perfect for each other. She had physical, emotional, sexual abuse. I had the same basic problem. We were a perfect match. And so over the period of time, we wanted to heal ourselves. I wanted to figure out why. Because, you know, I was 14 or 15 years old. I went to Louisiana, lived with my aunt and uncle, and I discovered an amazing thing. Nobody was on my butt all the time. My dad, I mean, he would come home, we'd run and hide. I mean, he'd beat you at a drop of a hat. You know, he just had issues. And so I learned how to survive, and I learned how to have his problems, because we're learning machines. And so here it is. I discovered peace in my life. And so when I went back home, I said, Mom, I'm not living here anymore. I want to go back to Louisiana. She said, you can't. You can go live with your grandmother. Now, I didn't want to live with my grandmother. I had a girlfriend in Louisiana. I had a job, and it was peaceful. I wanted to go back where life was a lot better. So here it is. I move in with my grandmother, and I'm having nightmares about my father. I mean, I'm having this stuff, all this issues, and so I wanted to heal myself. I read about hypnosis. My grandmother, she just loved me. I mean, I had my own bedroom. I had my own phone. Believe it or not, when I moved in with my grandmother, I would call Louisiana and I would talk for hours to my grandpa, my aunt, and my cousins, and I built up like $1,000 phone bill. Yeah. She forgave me and paid the phone bill, and I quit doing that stuff. But she'd buy me these encyclopedias about personal psychology, and I would read all kinds of stuff. And Wayne Dyer was the one book that I bought. And I thought it was your erogenous zones. I mean, I was 15 years old, and I wanted to figure out how the girls worked. But come to find out that this book started a major change in my life. It really did. And so from that point on, I began to really work on myself. And so here it is. I'm married, and the stuff hits the fan, and we both have the same problem. That's how it works. And so he's using guided imagery and all this stuff, and I started reading MindWorks. It's a book about NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Now, NLP is the study of the mind and its internal processes and how and why we have problems with a set of beliefs behind it. And basically what I teach is basic NLP presuppositions. And those are the healing attitudes. Now, of course, this is my basic style of presuppositions. It's a set of understandings, and so this is where I came from. I just wanted to fix myself and heal myself. And there was a guy here in town named Don Blackerby. Don Blackerby taught NLP, so I called him up. I said, hey, I want to learn how to do this NLP stuff. How much does it cost? $2,500. Well, I've got about 45 old junk cars behind my mobile home. I'm working and pulling parts and selling old cars at the time. I didn't have $2,500. And I said, well, maybe I can, do you have a video or something? I want to see if you're any good. And then he'd send me a video, and I said, hey, can I talk to one of your students? And so I was talking to this lady, and I was sharing about my life, about what's going on in my life, and about my relationship and all this stuff. He said, hey, there's a guy on the internet you should check out. And it's emofree.com, which is Gary Craig's website. And so I went to this website. It was $180 for this course. And at the time, I didn't have the $180, but I had an empty credit card because we just refinanced our home and paid all our credit cards off. Well, when I shared this with my wife, she started crying, you're going to get us in debt again. I said, no, there's something here. So I bought this course, and it came home. It sat around for a couple of weeks, and then one day I said, I'm going to just do this. So I stayed up all night. I watched the videos, read the book. The next morning I called Amanda over. Now, Amanda was about a 17-year-old girl that was a friend of my daughter's, and I knew she had a fear of heights. And I said, hey, Amanda, you want to come over so we can get rid of your fear of heights? And while on the phone, she goes, you're not going to make me climb a ladder, are you? I said, no, Amanda, you're not going to do anything you don't want to do. So she comes over, and I asked my oldest son, Adam, I said, hey, Adam, go get the ladder. And she screams, no. I said, Amanda, you're not going to do anything you don't want to do. So 30 minutes later, she's climbing at the top of this ladder, smiling, looking down at me, and said, I can't believe I'm up here. And so when she climbed all the way down, she said, and I wasn't even afraid going down. I said, hey, there's something in this stuff, And so I began to tap on everything that moved. I mean, my wife at the time, she had restless leg, and she'd have restless leg at night. And she'd have restless leg here and there. And so here's something amazing. I said, hey, let me try this with you. And so she's sitting in a chair, and we start going back to that emotional stuff. And both of those legs would just take off. I mean, just no control. And obviously, at the time, I didn't understand it. But it's emotionally based. I didn't know that. And of course, there's big resistance because there's a lot of emotions behind this stuff. And so I'm working, and I'm tapping on everything I can find, And Matthew, my youngest, he was his brother and sister would pick on him. And they would tease him about his ears. And of course, you know, at the time, apparently he may have had big ears. And if they said anything about his ears, it would hurt his feelings, and it just hurt him. And so one day, my cousin and her husband came over. And he was wrestling around with Matthew, and he said something about Matthew's ears. And it hurt his feelings. And so he went to the bedroom, locked himself in, wouldn't come out. Now this guy's feeling really bad. So he said, "Come on, man, I'm sorry," and all this stuff, trying to get Matthew to come out. He wouldn't come out. He slid $5 under the door, and Matthew still didn't come out. And he kept the $5. And so one day, Matthew was in the living room, and I went over and I sat next to Matthew. I said, "Hey, Matthew, I want to help you with something." He said, "What's that, Daddy?" I said, "Your ears." And I could just see his disposition on his face. You know, it just that hurt was already there. And this is the truth. I went one time around on this tapping, and I said, "Matthew, you sure got big ears." And he smiled at me and said, "Yeah, Daddy, just like yours." From that moment on, ears never bothered him. Because apparently the emotions attached to whatever that was is released now. Now that's where I basically began. But the interesting thing about the EFT model, now I use the EFT model. I've tapped thousands and thousands of times the EFT style. Now the EFT style works. It does. But the interesting about the EFT model is a little different than how I see it now. And basically the presupposition with the EFT style is the reason why you have problems is because inside you there's a disruption in your energy system. And he said it's kind of like you take a screwdriver and you put it in the TV and you whirl it around, you pull the screwdriver out, and when you turn the TV on, there's something's wrong with the TV. Which to me gives a presupposition that inside you something's broken. And so that's where I kind of differed from that point of view. And I thought, well, I don't believe that I'm broken. Because, you know, I can look at my wife and she's having these issues, but I know that there's a cause. There's something in the past that helps support this. So I believe now my presupposition is the reason why we have problems is because we're good at them. The reason why we have problems, we have proof and references to support it, even if we consciously do not know they're there. And that's very interesting because if inside you you're not broken, obviously you're doing the best you can. Operate from the presupposition of there's something broken in her head. But in reality, she was thinking and created the headache. Now, as we started tapping, we began to realize, and she said, well, the problem really is I was dating this guy and I was raped. And for 6 years, I put on weight, and for 6 years, I hadn't dated anyone. Well, what we did, I said, I want you to go back and remember, and you don't tell us what happened, just feel it. And we use the tapping process, and all of a sudden, the headache's gone, the memory doesn't have any impact, and then 3 or 4 weeks later, she's in the seminar, and one of her friends noticed that she was radiating happiness, and she said, you must be having a relationship. You're happy. You're not dragging around like you have for the last 6 years. And she said she met this man in the seminar, and it helped release all my problems. So it's inside of us. And so this seminar, I will show you basically the real deal. It's metaphors, it's hypnosis, it's little trances, and the cause of all problems start with you. And of course, I'm a spiritual person. I mean, I believe that spirituality is everything. And spirituality is really concepts at work. Here's a perfect spiritual concept, which is in the book, what you fear controls you. For example, if you came in this room and all of a sudden you see this color of a shirt, and you hate this color of a shirt, and when you walk in you see the shirt tells you to leave. Who's the boss? The shirt. And so there's several models of thinking, and there's one model of the world is that the world is controlling me, and the other model of the world, it's my reaction to the world. And so when you begin to understand how we operate and how we create our problems, then you can make the changes. And so that's what we're going to be here to do, is we're going to learn how we have problems and learn how to make the changes. Now, of course, I started with the EFT model, and the EFT model, basically, they set up the reason why we have problems, is there's a disruption in your energy system. And so what he would do is identify the problem, rate it from 0 to 10, and we would do something like this. Even though I have this problem, I love and accept myself. Even though I have this problem, I totally and completely love and accept myself. This problem, 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 this problem. One, two, three, four, five. And go back and check this problem. Now, usually when they say this problem, usually it's anger or sadness, and you're aiming at one specific feeling or emotion. And I would do this hundreds of times, thousands of times. And I was like I just, everywhere I'd go, I would tap on somebody. And I'd do this over and over again. Now, that's pretty simple. I mean, it may took maybe, let's say 3 minutes. I don't think it took 3 minutes. Maybe 2 minutes, you think? Approximately. So it's not that long. But, I've been doing this over and over again, and I'm tapping, and so here it is. I'm using this tapping process. I'm tapping everywhere I would go. And then I thought, and then now my children and my wife and my family are running from me. I want somebody to tap on, because I have this great desire to figure out why this works. Because I have this idea that the reason why I'm broken is something, and the reason why I have a problem, something's broken inside. Okay? So that's my presupposition. And I'm thinking, why does this really work? So then, for some reason, I don't even know why, my mind said, hey, get a massage. So I feel like God did, but anyway, so I go get this massage, and I'm listening to this girl, and she's talking about her school. I thought, man, this really feels good. And people who go to get massage want help. So I enrolled in this 2-day course, and they called me and they canceled it. And then later on, they called me back and the owner of the school called me back and said, hey, I'm really sorry, I'm passing kidney stones. And at that time, I discovered that this tapping works on physical pain. I said, hey, I learned this technique that will get rid of pain. And it's like acupressure. And he said, well, I have acupuncturists who's poking me with needles. And so I thought, wow. And I have this new date, so I enrolled, and I go to the school. And I thought, wow, this guys really want to learn I can really help somebody get rid of some pain. And this guy's avoiding me like the plague. He didn't have nothing to do with me. I thought, oh my God. But while I'm in this class, it really started to click that there's a body and mind connection. And that's what really started catching my attention, because there's a body-mind connection. This is how it really works. And so I'm thinking, wow, this is really cool. And then the next day, I'm getting a massage. And he's still on the second day. I mean, later on the first day, I said, hey, I got these papers. I'll give you copies of this stuff. And still didn't really have anything to do with me. And this course was designed to see if you're good enough to go to his college. So the next day, I'm getting the massage. I'm really excited about all this stuff, because I'm learning a new thing. It's making an emotional body-mind connection. Still didn't understand why we had problems. And then I thought, oh no, he won't have anything to do with me. I won't get to go to his college. I mean, that was my fear, And so come to find out, I did make it in. I thought, yes. And it was a course, and so here it is. I enrolled in this course, and I'm taking this class, and I have this great skill. And of course, I'd run out of gas. I had this 1963 Plymouth. It was a two-door with nice big wheels, this kind of sports car, but the gas gauge didn't work. And so it's really amazing. I'm going down I-240, and it would run out of gas, and I would climb down this hill, and I'd go to this gas station, get me some gas, and put it in the car. And it happened twice at the same exact spot. Then the amazing part is the same two people were working at the gas station at the same time. And I said, okay, God, somebody's getting tapped on. So I tapped on this lady. And I'm serious. I tap on everything and anything wherever I go, because I'm excited because it works. And so here I'm at this college, and I'm tapping on the students. I say, hey, I'll show you how to do it. It's really cool. Well, one day, it was on a Friday, and it was teaching sports massage. And I was there early, and I was walking towards the bathroom, and the Upland Institute was there, and I was teaching craniosacral. And they all looked at me, and I said, are y'all having class? I said, no, we're just practicing. So I went in there, and I sat down, and I was sitting there watching him do all this stuff, and asking questions. And there was a lady on the further back, all on the table, all by herself, and she gets up, she goes, oh, my back still hurts. Well, I stood up and said, hey, I have this technique that may help you with your back pain. Would you like to try it? She said, I guess so. So I go over here. And so I said, well, where's your back pain? It's right here. And what does it feel like? And I'd say, even though I have this back pain, and it wouldn't move. And then I'd say, what does it feel like? A sharp pain, even though I have this sharp pain. And the pain would disappear. And I'd do it all over again. And I'd use the SUDS rating from 0 to 10. And all of a sudden, it starts to disappear. And the back pain's gone. She says, but I have this big pressure at the back of my head. And so I'd tap on it, and it wouldn't go away. And I'd tap on it, and it wouldn't go away. And I said, well, how did you hurt your back? She said, I was in a car wreck, but I'm over it now. I said, ooh, she's not over it. So at the time, Callahan was teaching arm testing. How many of you are familiar with applied kinesiology? Basically, what would happen is that if it's a truth, the arm would be strong. If it's a lie, your body would be weak. And so I'd say, okay, I want you to say this. I am over this car wreck, and it was just weak. I thought, oh. I say I'm not over this car wreck. I said, okay, I want you to say this. Even though I'm not over this car wreck, I love and accept myself. And she looked at me and said, I can't say that. I said, well, okay, I'll say it myself. So I'm tapping it, and one of the guys in the room over there, he goes, hey, are you late for class? I look up, I'm about 20 minutes late. I said, hey, I'll be back. So I'm going to class, and I'm sitting in there listening, and the owner of the school, he comes in and says, Robert, I need to speak with you. So I go out, and I say, yes. He starts yelling at me. I said, I can't believe you're making people say they hate themselves. I said, I would never do that. He says, if I hear another thing about this tapping, I'm going to kick you out of my school. I said, oh, okay. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you a couple of options. One, you can go home now, or you go back to class. I said, well, I'll go back to class. Now, so I go back into class, and I'm in there, and Hillary, who was a girl that I tapped on, because we went to Shannon's house, and we're learning reflexology. Now, Shannon had this big fear of feet. She hates feet. I mean, she literally hates feet. She said my husband would just do she'd get pissed off, angry, because they'd have feet on the TV. I mean, now this is really bizarre. I want to help you understand something. What you fear, you attract. What you fear, you go to. Now, what is she doing now? What kind of school is she in? Learning what? Isn't this amazing? Okay, so here she is. She says, I just hate feet. My husband would take his shoes off and do this and just irritate me. I said, really? Well, I have this technique. If you want to, we can try it. Okay? So I start tapping on her, and we got this book with ugly, really snarly, nasty, green, you name it, toes. And I would tap, and I'd have her look at this, and we'd tap, and eventually she said, it just doesn't bother me. I said, oh, okay. So we all took our shoes off and wiggled our toes at her. I said, big deal. The amazing part about this is that later on, 2 or 3 weeks later, she's at McDonald's. And her family are sitting here at McDonald's eating this breakfast burrito. She said this truck driver walked in, open-toed shoes, and had the ugliest feet. She said, well, those are ugly feet. And they just walked on. The fear was gone. But at the same time, here it is, Hillary, who was in the class, and just saw me do this. She said, well, I have a back pain. I said, really? How long have you had it? I've had it for 2 years, ever since I had an epidural when I gave birth to my babies, the last of the 2 babies. I said, well, if you want to, I'll see if it'll work on that. Because I don't know what it'll do. So I started tapping, and I walked towards her, and I said, but she said, I think I have something more important to tap on. I said, what is it? Well, when I was 17, my mother and father was going through a divorce. And I had to step between my mother and my father to protect my mother. And you could see that the emotions are there. It's like she's almost going to cry. So I just start tapping around about 3 or 4 rounds. And I said, well, she looks at me kind of strange. It doesn't bother me. I said, well, okay. I didn't say, well, try it again, because I didn't know, I didn't know to do that. I said, are you sure? She said, no, it doesn't bother me. I said, well, how's your back? She goes, it's gone. The pain's gone. I said, really? Very interesting. And I thought that night, I said, why would you tap something emotional and the pain in your back would disappear? I didn't understand. So I called her the next day. I said, hey, Hillary, I just have a couple of questions for you. Was your father at the hospital at the time? Oh, yeah. Because the mind moved the pain of what she had with her father to remind her right here that she had this disruption. Because the mind is the body. The body is the mind. And you can't separate the two, guys. And if you were to cut it right here, both sides quit working. I mean, that's true. Because I remember this lady, and this is a true story. She's 65 years old. She had the fear of dead birds. And some of you may have heard the story. She had the fear of dead birds. Or live birds. And she really didn't know why she had the fear. It was just overcoming fear. And the deal is that when she was like 7 years old, she went to a funeral. And then she went out to her grandmother's house, who was like 4'11", and she chopped the head of a chicken off. The chicken chased her without a head. Therefore, the reason why she had a fear of dead birds was because of a reference. Now, of course, when she would see the bird, and if she was with somebody else, it says, well, there's a disruption inside your body. There's something broken. Not realizing that the disruption in our body is saying, hey, I have some emotional issues I need to release, which is the key to all changes. Everything you feel, everything you do is internally represented, which you're not broken. Fear is trying to help you heal and release the pain. Doesn't that make sense? Like, for example, the lady who has the fear of shirts, somewhere in her past, she has a proof, an unconscious reference. It could be that somebody who had this same color shirt picked on her at school. Anytime that I deal with somebody with a fear, how do you know you have the fear? There's a proof. So there are no broken people, and that's a presupposition that I operate from. There are no broken people. There are people who are operating from broken, hurt ideas, bad internal programs that they learn to survive from wherever they came from. It's all neurological information, which is basically in your mind. So does that all kind of fit together and make sense? And so here it is. I went to massage school, and he kicks me out. Don't come back. So, it just really knocked me down. And so I started tapping on myself. And so I tapped on myself. I thought, well, there are other schools. So I looked in the phone book, and sure enough. So I went to this other school, and I said, hey, kind of shame. I said, hey, I was just kicked out of this other school. He said, oh, he kicks a lot of people out. He's kind of different. I said, okay. And I have this technique. Now, I discovered that, of course, they're teaching it's energy. I said, I have this energy technique, which is the EFT style. I have this energy technique. She said, oh, that's okay. We have Reiki masters, and we have, we use acupressure, and we're familiar with different things. I said, oh, okay. So I'm going to this school, and I have a little bit of anxiousness because I already just got kicked out. I don't want to get kicked out the second time. So, but I'm still tapping. And eventually, this lady who was from the beauty college side, she had a real stiff neck, and she couldn't turn. And she came in, and I started working with her, and I said, I have this acupressure technique. Now, at the time, when I first bought the course, I didn't know that this was acupressure. I didn't even know that. But I figured out that it was Chinese acupressure. So there's certain meridians on the body. We're tapping on the meridians, but I still didn't understand why we had problems. Why do you tap on it? Okay, these are meridians. And it didn't really make a complete connection until I kept asking, why does this work? Why do you tap on these meridians? What does it mean? And then I discovered the fight or flight response. The fight or flight response is like you're walking through the woods and you see the bear. The bear doesn't see you. Inside your body, there's about 1,400 changes depending on how severe and programmed you are to whatever bears do. Now your body responds, and on top of your kidneys are a pair of adrenals. It starts pumping this adrenaline through your system. Of course, you have all this adrenaline going through your system. It affects your lungs. It affects your heart. All the blood in your stomach is rerouted to your arms and your legs, and the pressure in your arms and legs increases 300 to 400%. Your liver has like 400 different functions. While you're stressed, it pumps glucose and fat into your system. Your entire body is affected by what you perceive outside, the fight or flight response. So I said, it's stress, right? Stress and emotions. So the fight or flight response, the tapping, is addressing the organs, which basically creates problems. But I realized, too, that there could be two people who walk through the same woods. One person doesn't even know what a bear is. The other one knows what bears do. The response is totally different. So it began to help me understand that our body's reaction is perceived. And perception, our response to whatever the external is. So when somebody walks in and they see this shirt, their reaction is totally different than someone who had the experience with a shirt like this. So where all problems start. All problems start here and expressed here. That's how you know you have a problem. It's a metaphor. Does that make sense? So here it is. I'm in the massage school. I am tapping, and I tap away her neck pain. She got emotional at one point. She could turn her head. She went back to the other side, and about a week or two later, I was pulled into the office, and Shelley, she said, Robert, the owners of the school are very concerned. They think you're using voodoo. I mean, it's the truth. They said, they think you're using voodoo. I said, I don't. Well, it's the owners of the school, and they said, I said, Shelley, I don't even know what voodoo is. And, honestly, I went and looked it up, see what voodoo was. It's not voodoo. But she said, I know it's that tapping acupressure technique. They said they want you to lay low and not, and they're really concerned that you're tapping on clients. I said, I hadn't done that yet. Okay, so here it is. I'm getting scared again, okay? And I have a client who came in, and she wanted chair massage, and I'm giving her a chair massage. And she's talking about how she's got some issues with her husband. And I'm thinking, man, I could really help her, but I can't tap on her. So I said, hey, I'll tell you what you do. Just turn around, sit in the chair. So now I'm rubbing on her. Now tell me about what's going on. That sadness. So I'm rubbing. And all of a sudden, it's changing. And I would do this over and over again. And the next thing you know, the problems were solved. I mean, how she felt about it. She had clarity. She didn't feel stressed. And she gave me this big hug before she left. And when she was leaving, I thought, damn, I'm good. And it's not that I'm really that good, but it made a good connection with me. And that is, you don't have to tap. That's very powerful. Because there was a shift. And so here it is, I'm in still the massage school because, one, it's like $2,500 for this class. I paid for it all up front. And I'm getting 3 or 4 massages a day. 5 or 6, 4 days a week. I mean, who would want to quit? I mean, I didn't take any of my tests. I want to take a few of my tests, and I'm just learning. And I'm figuring out how this works. And they said, hey, we have this lady who's a psychiatric nurse, and Robert, you don't want her. She is crazy. I said, crazy? I said, I'll take her. So she would be on the massage table, and I'm at the head, and she's talking about these problems, about pain. I said, really, pain? What does it feel like to you? Sharp pain, really? And I'd reach over and grab her wrist. Just go ahead and take. I didn't say take a deep breath, and I'd test this, and each time I'd say, go back. Does it still bother you? And over a period of time, she said, my relationship with my son has changed. My leg or arm pain is gone. I can deal with my work a little bit better. My husband doesn't affect me as much. I said, I don't remember what her name is now. I said, my class time is about over with. I'll give you one of my business cards. If you ever need me, just call me. Because my floor time's over with. Now I just have class time. And she would still pull me out of class. And so one day, months later, Nancy, she said, Robert, do you know so-and-so? I said, oh, yeah, I know her. She said, you're the best massage therapist here. I said, well, okay, thanks. And she also said you had magic hands. And the reason is I knew how to release the emotions and knew the points, and she didn't even know what I was doing. Because then again, it's the body's reaction to perception. So that's very powerful. So here it is, I'm making changes, and they don't even know what the world they're doing. They're just coming in and get some changes. And so from that point on, I began to learn and try to figure out how and why it works. Now, at the same time, while I'm using the EFT, I'm also studying NLP, which is the study of the mind, and I was studying Dr. Larry Nim's program, Be Set Free Fast. Dr. Larry Nims also studied under Callahan. Now, Gary Craig took the course, I think it was at the time Callahan Techniques, and now he's changed it to Thought-Field Therapy. And basically, Thought-Field Therapy is that Callahan had this lady, her name was Mary. Mary had intense fear of water. And what Mary would do is, she said I was born with this fear. I have no idea where it came from. She couldn't give her children a bath with this much water without panic attacks, watch TV without panic attacks. It was just horrible. Rain outside, high anxiety. And so Callahan was working with Mary and said, hey, Mary, I want you to come to my home. I have a pool. Of course, if you have a horrible fear, the worst thing you want to do is go to where the problem is. And so, he would literally drag her to the pool, and she would just trembling and looking away and have all this anxiety inside of her body. But one day, away from the pool, talking to Mary about her fear, she says, every time I think about water, I feel it here in my stomach. Again, it goes back to what's the connection? Mind-body reference. How do you know you have a problem? I feel it. It's the feeling that makes it seem real. And so Callahan, what he did is he just had Mary would just do this. For a few minutes, she's tapping on her stomach meridian, and all of a sudden, the feeling in her stomach faded away, and so did her fear. Jokingly, Callahan said, hey, Mary, let's go to the pool. She gets up and takes off running towards the pool. He has a near panic attack for fear she's going to drown. He's trying to get her to stop, and she stopped and turned, and she said, I'm not stupid. I know I can't swim. That's an interesting concept because if you get rid of the fear, it doesn't make you stupid. That's real important. That's a lot of people, reason why do we hold on to fears? Well, unless you know how to feel stupid, but why do we hold on to the fears? Because we think that fear is protecting us. We think that fear is trying to keep us safe. That's why we don't want to let go of the fear. That's a very powerful concept. Because we think that fear is protecting us. We think that fear is trying to save us. And honestly, the fear, believe it or not, is a form of love. Low-level love, but it is love because it is trying to keep you safe. Most people will say love and fear are two different things. Guys, they're both the same. Love and pain is what we want to put on the opposite side of love. Because what is that fear there? To keep us from what? Pain. From being hurt. Now, most people think it's the fear. I have a fear of spiders, and it's my fear that's the fear's fault. I said, no. It's the emotional references, and the fear is trying to keep you from getting hurt. It's saving you from the pain. So that's the understanding. Fear, and what we do in my sessions, whenever anyone comes up, what am I looking for? Everything I look for is for pain and fear. When I have clients that come and see me, you know what I have them do? I have them write a list of what? Everything they fear and every painful event. And the reason is, what you fear, whatever controls you with pain, is your master. That's the key. If you go to every fear and you release the emotional charge to it, guess what happens? You heal. Does that make sense? So here it is, Callahan And Gary Craig took the course. It was a 10,000 4-day course, $10,000 4-day course. Dr. Larry Nims took the same course. Now Larry Nims took the information and he went back to wherever his hometown was, and he created what he calls is the 4-tap. Now the problem with the 4-tap is because the problem that I found is a big problem which Callahan had, and that is arm testing. Now I'm in Oklahoma. Now Oklahomans are not very evolved in a lot of ways. And of course, I have somebody come into my office and I'm using this arm testing and they thinking this is really weird. I said, you hadn't seen weird yet. Let me tap on you. Okay? So this is no lie, guys. I had this spiel that I would have on how we'd have problems so that they would understand. But I would spend an hour trying to explain why we tapped. So here it is, arm testing. Now Callahan, his technique is he would arm test and he'd try to figure out which meridian was blocked, whatever it was. And then he would have protocols. I don't know the protocols now, but say, for example, you have anxiety. He'd say, well, you'd tap right here, and you would tap right here, and you'd do the 9 gamut. That's how he would do it. Now, Gary Craig, he said, Callahan, if that's true, there's 144,000 different ways to tap. Why don't you tap on all of them? That's what Gary Craig decided to do. He created the EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, by tapping on all the meridians. Okay? Now, I'm studying Dr. Larry Nims. Again, his deal is using meridians to see if your unconscious mind, and he had a 4-tap basic protocol. Right here. Boy, do I remember. Right here. Right here, right here, and maybe right here at the thumb. I don't even remember now. He had a 4 basic tap. But he set up a metaphor. He didn't know what he set it up and using arm tests, see if it's okay to get rid of it. And then I started combining these together, and I'd have clients who would come in, or individuals, and I would use this technique with Callahan, mix it a little bit with EFT, and then mix it with a little bit of NLP, and I discovered something really important. And that is, the mind, whatever you do before you do it, sets the mind up. Whatever you do before you do it. Say, for example, if you come in, say you're getting ready to arrive here at this class, and you have a bad attitude, you're really pissed, or you're upset about something, or you're feeling sad about something. Now, when you come in with your sadness, when you're here, that sadness will affect what you do here. Does that make sense? And so I discovered when you set the mind up, before you do whatever you do, the mind naturally follows, even if they consciously don't know what you're doing. Does that make sense? Okay.
What do you mean by setting it up?
Well, setting it up is basically explaining how and why it works. Because I discovered that if you don't set it up right, you're going to make some changes, and they're going to look at you like you're some wacko or crazy, or they said, this is really weird, and where's the door? So I had to figure out. So the first thing I did is I started to inoculate, which released the fear of making fast changes. And I had to set it up that it's okay to make the changes. Does that make sense? And so here it is. I'm using the tapping processes, and I've started mixing them together. And I'm trying to figure out how and why we have problems. So I went to this garage sale. And so I'm at this garage sale. And by the way, I'm a garage sale hound. And thrift stores and pawn shops, whatever. I want the good deal. So to me, it's like fun, you know. So I'm at this garage sale, and I walk up to this garage sale, and this lady's looking at me and said, I know you from somewhere. I said, well, where at? She said, do you go to this gym or this other? And I said, no. I go to this gym over here, and I do massages. And I said, and I'm a stress expert. I get rid of fears and phobias and all this, and also a massage therapist. And she goes, oh, I see. I know you from the gym because you're a massage therapist. Well, her mother was sitting right next to me, or sitting in a chair. And she goes, well, I have a fear. I said, really, you have a fear? What kind of fear? And she started telling me this story, where she had this fear when she was a little girl of heights in the mountains. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. Fear. I wasn't going to tap on her, and I just thought I'd do something different. NLP. I said, well, when you think about this memory, is it in color, black and white? You see yourself in it. She said, no, I'm there. I'm watching. I'm in the car. I can just feel it. I could see your reaction. I said, take this picture in your mind and push it far away. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take a paintbrush and paint a new picture. Put green grass. And this is what I told her. I said, I want you to see green grass, a beautiful tree with flowers in it, and you can feel the wind and hear the birds. She said, okay. And she had this smile on her face. I said, you remember that fear you had? And all of a sudden she goes, all I see is the green grass and flowers. And all of a sudden there was a mental shift. So then I began to say, our problems start with what we do in our mind. And once I began to understand that, that took me on a new path to what I'm doing today. So now, I'm tapping on all the points and doing all this different processes. And I said, I want to make it faster because, when you do this, and now guys, if you came in to see me and I have you close your eyes, rolling your eyes, and humming and counting, that'd be kind of weird too, isn't it? Arm testing, tapping. So I had to throw a bunch of stuff away. And I wanted to make it fast, easy, and simple. That's where I'm at basically today. All this stuff, now I have been threatened to get my tail whipped. They said I could kill somebody by doing this. I'm serious. They said I could kill somebody by doing this. Well, it's also from someone who's a black belt in karate, who has a lot of anger, who knows how to hurt people. Okay? And also with fear, what is the number one controller in our life? Number one controller? And that is fear. So he said, I'm going to kick your tail if you do this with my family, I said, okay. So, been kicked out of school because of tapping. But my passion is because I know it worked and it healed me. That's where I'm at today. That's the reason why I've been teaching seminars since from 2000. 2000 was my first time. I think it was 1999 at the December or 2000. And it was just a fluke how it all happened. So that's why I've been teaching seminars on weight loss. My passion is not weight loss, but I discovered that weight loss is a symptom, not a cause. And since it's a symptom, I had to figure out what the cause was. Again, it's stress and emotion. There's no difference in using food than using alcohol. No using food, alcohol, or cigarettes. Or using work. It's the same basic program. And so from my learning and my experiences, I'm making fast changes really quick. And it's because I've been through the boot camp thousands of times, asking questions and trying to figure out how to do it. That's why I'm here today. And that's what I want to do with you. This series, number one series, is understanding the structure of problems. How you have it, how it's created, and we're going to use the basic, it's my shortened EFT style. Of course, Gary Craig, now they tap differently than what I first started. I think they tap up here. They tap here, 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 and they tap here. That's the program now. So, of course, I changed it before then because I want to make it faster and easier and quicker. I want to get in there, get the job done, and move on. So that's why I do the way I do. Now, I highly recommend, guys, attending the relationship seminar, and I'll tell you why. You're going to start seeing things differently. How many of you have not been to a regular 6-week series seminar? Of any variety of mine. Part of this course, and the reason why I went into this tapping process is not only that it worked, but it worked on me personally. And my best way to heal me is with Sue. When she came to see me, or when somebody volunteers up here, and I'm being triggered. When I'm being triggered, I have to honor myself and release my stuff. Because if, say for example, Linda and I, we have this belief, and that the belief is all presidents are evil, okay? And so she and I, we believe this to be 100% true. Presidents are evil. And whoever wears suits are evil, okay? So we're making this up, okay? So now Linda and I will sit around and talk and say, yeah, I can't believe that old stupid blah, 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 he did blah, blah, blah. And so she and I are dancing this dance about how evil they are, right? Now, can I help Linda move beyond that if I have the same problem? There is no way I can help her move beyond that. And so it's very important for you is to learn how to heal yourself. And I've done this before. I've been to people who are quote-unquote helpers and healers. You go to the doctors and all the nurses are about 50 pounds overweight. They're smoking cigarettes to no end. Or you go to a nutritionist and they're 50 pounds overweight and they have to turn, or more, trying to turn sideways going into the door. We want to heal ourselves because what good is it if you can heal the world and you die a miserable, painful, stressful life? Do you realize back in the old days, I mean, I don't know what the research is now. It used to be that now I'm not picking on therapists or even ministers or anything else, but the number one way, I mean, it was a big deal for therapists because they couldn't deal with the emotional issues, and suicide was very high amongst them many times. And you know what their favorite way of killing themselves? The number one choice? Yes. Absolutely, pills. That's true. Pills. Yeah. And so, now, I don't know about you guys. Now, I don't, you know, I've been to a therapist a couple of times. And the last time I went, I tapped on her. Because that was, I mean, it's the truth. And she goes, how did you do that? But seriously, I mean, the last time I tapped on her, and as a matter of fact, there's a real good story behind that too. But there's several books I highly recommend, guys. The Heal Your Body book by Louise Hay. This is a very, very good book, and it helps you understand the emotional, physical connection. This is not in stone. This is just a reference, you know. And I find it very, very true. You'll need to, I have several of them. I go through a lot of them. If say, for example, Sue and I, we have, say, she's the therapist and I'm the client. And so Sue's belief is you can never get rid of your sexual abuse issues. You're just going to learn how to deal with it. Now that's what her belief is. And I come in with a sexual abuse issue. You know how far I'm going to travel? Only as far as Sue's belief is. Do you realize that? And so here Sue believes this to be true, and since she believes this to be true, she also has proof in her mind, doesn't she? She has emotional memories, and so I come in, I start sharing with Sue about my abuse. Guess who's also feeling it? Sue is. And so since Sue has it inside, and she's now a sexual abuse counselor, right? And guess what she sees a lot? Sexual abuse. Guess what happens inside Sue? All this emotion is repeating over and over again, and then guess what happens to her body? It starts to wear down. She could die of cancer. She could, if every time Sue has a client and she feels it in her stomach, and Albert Ellis says, hey, pardon me, I had to eat these bologna sandwiches to keep my ulcers down. Right? So here it is, you're in therapy, and he's eating a bologna sandwich, so his ulcers doesn't hurt. Because Albert Ellis did not know how to release the emotional pain. So the cool thing about this class and using the tapping process is you start to heal you now. And you know, like when you're on the airplane, you've been on the airplane, and of course the stewardess is doing all this, and he says if the oxygen thing comes down, put it on you first, then you can help someone else. Guys, if you're not helping you heal, you're going to have clients who will come in and you will not help them move beyond your belief. That's very important to understand. So what we want to do is install a new belief and also learn how to heal you. Okay? Now this is what this first course is about. Metaphors, how we have problems, why we have problems, what is hypnosis, what is the problem, and how to make the changes. Is that good? And there's another part I want you to do, guys. Every seminar I ask you to do this, get you a spiral notebook, start writing down your events in your life that had a negative impact. Your fears, Your events, you can list your mother and every memory with your mother that's negative. Every event with your father that is negative. Brothers, sisters, wives, ex-wives, ex-husbands, current husbands, ex-girlfriends, whatever it is. School teachers, everything that you can think of. And the reason is that we want to really start working on ourselves. That's the real deal. Guys, what good are you if you can save the world and then you lose your very life? Misery. It doesn't make sense.
So should we do this even if we've been to see you and been to seminars?
Absolutely. Because, yeah, this is, now why would you do this? Guys, this should be an ongoing project until the day you transition. Now this is what has happened, and I've seen this before. An individual will come to the relationship seminar or the weight loss seminar, and they will get major life changes here. And they worked. And then what happens is that they quit taking the seminar and they go out through their life and they don't tap, then new problems develop. Because the problem is that inside of ourselves we have programs on how I can have a problem. And so events will happen and you'll start to utilize this program, how I can feel bad, and you'll start putting information in, and next thing you know, you're creating new problems. The tapping is not, the tapping is a life skill. And as a therapist, or I believe I'm making coaches. That's what I'm making coaches. You're a coach. You're a life coach. You are a minister, because I believe this is a ministry of healing. And honestly, from my experiences, you can make more changes than most therapists out there. Now, there are some therapists who are really good. Cognitive therapy works. But what we want to do is create changes. Your goal is to heal yourself and to help impact the world and make changes. That's the goal. I've had therapists. I know you're a therapist. I'm not picking on therapists just because you're here, but I was in a class and there was a room full of therapists. It was hypnosis, and I said something, and I tell you guys, if there was a noose or if there was a guillotine or if a cross was in the room, I would have been on it. And I said this: memories are not real. They seem real because you feel it. Now that's very powerful to understand. And how many of you realize at one point in time, therapists were taken to court because they gave their clients false memories? Do you remember that? All right. Now if memories are not real, and I had this therapist said, Robert, if I did what you did, I would lose money. I said, but there's so many people out there who need your help. And that is very powerful to understand, guys. You can have such a profound impact if you advertise yourself in the right way. I highly recommend getting you a business card. Right now, I suggest helping everyone. Do not try to collect money unless you want to. You want to build skills. Now, what I will do in my seminar class tomorrow night, I say, hey guys, I have some students who would like to practice. Does anyone have problems practicing, finding people to practice on? You do? Okay. Now this also works over the phone. You do too? Okay. So this also works over the phone. You can help people over the phone and it still works. So, and in the back of the book there is a disclaimer. I highly recommend, guys, when you share with whoever it is you're working with, this is what I suggest: is have them sign this. You can take this and you can make it however you want to do it. You can just make it your own. Let me see if I can find where's it at. Oh yeah, it's on page 77. About myself. Now, some of you may not be NLP practitioners. Just make up something good that you think you are. I mean, you're a change expert. You're creating changes in people's lives. I consider. Now, there is a website that you can go to, and I believe that this is a ministry. I believe that this is helping people, and I think that's what we're here to do. And so, if you, I'm a minister, but what I did is I went online, and I think it was. Does anybody know what they go online and you can become a minister?
Universal Life Church.
Universal Life Church, and I did that in 1999. As a matter of fact, I seen this therapist, and she said, she asked me something. She said, "What do you want to do with your life?" I said, "I want to help people." She said, well, this is how you can do it. You can go to college, you can spend a lot of time, you become a minister, you could do this or that. I thought, well, I'll be a minister. So between that session and the next session, I went online, I became a minister. It didn't cost anything. They have two basic beliefs. One, you will not force your beliefs upon others, and two, you will not hurt anybody. I think most of us believe that. Isn't that true?
What that was created for?
Who? What?
That was created for Vietnam,
Oh, Vietnam.
and for help with conscience and justice, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. So it is, and I believe that, you know, I have never, not one time, have anybody ever come back at me and say, hey, you did this, because on this disclaimer said, hey, I am not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dentist. I'm not a dietitian. I'm a life coach. And my ministry and my goal in life is to improve the world, to give you skills to take control. Now, if anybody's ever been to my seminar, what do? I give you skills. I want to empower you. And that's a great mission in life. As a matter of fact, my affirmation for myself, I am changing the world. One person at a time, starting with myself and touching everyone along the way. That's my mission. And that's a great mission. I suggest making your own. Okay? It's very important to do that.
I may make this comment tomorrow, too. You could have arranged this like a lot of most people in this kind of field would end up charging 10 times as much, make it a $1,000, $2,000 course. Some people would be lined up because you charge that much. They assume that it's more so. But the generosity of what you're doing, trying to give it away, almost give it away, and trying to make it available for as many people. And you could have also made it where you just give them a little bit of a taste of what went on, but they had to come to you constantly to reinforce it. So I'm impressed with that. You don't see it that much. Most people think, well, wait, I can't give it away, or I won't be able to make a living. And stuff. So teaching us how to do it instead of just making it your own, I think it's really admirable.
Well, I definitely, you know, and I think there's several reasons why I do that. One is because when I was a kid, people gave to me, you know. We was poor, you know. They'd take us, you know, we'd eat powdered scrambled eggs. I don't know if you had powdered scrambled eggs, but we had powdered scrambled eggs, pork in a can, you know, and they would give. And so, you know, to me, this is the best gift you can give anybody, and the ability to be free. The ability to change how you feel. That's the greatest gift. Now, I know that there's going to be a time that things will change, you know, and I know that if I continue doing this and I continue helping people, more people will come and see me. I mean, I had 65 people last week. I mean, that's a lot of people. And so eventually what's going to happen, I feel that the wind will blow and somebody will know what is that's happening here. And then we can help I think we can help a lot of people. And I also believe this. One of my goals is to build people like you, and where we go and say, for example, we have a big, 1,600 people. And there's going to be individuals in there that's going to need help. And I think if you're there and you say, hey, this is how we do it, you know, it's $75 an hour, you want a practitioner who knows how to do it, here's some names. Or if you're at the conference, you know, you can build a clients that way. You know, I charge $100 an hour first session, $75 an hour, and that's way underpriced for what I'm worth. There are clients who come to see me, I charge them $10. And you know, they can't afford anything else. I see them for nothing. You know, because I want to help. You know, I give because I have been given to as well. And so that's my mission, is to help people. And
when you said that in terms of like 1,600 people doing it, you've talked to, I know, some schools and some teachers and things in the past. I could see, you know, in terms of teachers, and I know Linda, just the things she shared, what she's done with her students so far, you know, and she teaches them to tap on themselves. But it's just an amazing possibility because, again, watching the kids, both on the tapes and the ones that have come here, they shift so fast. And,
oh yeah,
you know, it's the mindsets aren't as hard as when you get my age.
Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes the older, some of you. Well, yeah, you know, the deal is, I believe the older they are, the easier they get, in some cases, and the younger they are, sometimes they're easy, but it really depends on what references they have and what emotions are driving the bus. Seriously. So it's very important to work on ourselves. So what else did I make sure I covered? So we covered basically where I came from, basically the premise of the class. Are you doing okay?
And so I had this incident the other day with one of my, with the video. I won't go into details, but, and so then I got really upset, and I was in the middle of class, and this one girl I talked to, she was having a hard time this year, and she was all stressed out, and finally I just said to her, I said, now, I learned this technique, tapping, and I said, I really think you need to try it. And she said, oh, Miss Esser, I do it with my counselor. I was like, really? And so then the other day when I got all upset, on the way out, she said, hey, Miss Esser, just remember, tap on it. And I just thought it was so awesome,
So what are problems? What are problems? Do you know what problems are? Opportunities for sure. Yeah. There are no problems in the world, actually, but... Okay. So what I want to do is I want to address what a belief is. What is a belief? Well, yeah. So what is a belief? A belief is something you feel to be true, and you have proof and references. Okay, that's what a belief is. Of course, whenever you work with somebody, for example, if you have a fear of spiders or fear of whatever problems there is, if you have proof, you have a belief. This is a belief. Larry, do you have a belief do you have a fear of something, or do you have something that's a belief? Larry, I invited Larry because he's going to be our guinea pig. All right, he's going to be I'm going to help Larry, and Larry's going to help us. Is that okay? Okay? All you got to do is show up, Larry, and volunteer. All right, now what is a belief? Okay. Okay, what is a belief? A belief is something you feel strongly about, and you have proof. O-O-F, isn't it? Proof. And what is proof? Proof is memories, right? There's references and emotions. So we're going to address this belief that Larry has, okay? All right, now, okay, let me get you hooked up here, Larry.
Proof for me would be references.
Yeah. So Larry, what is this belief that you have?
Now that I'm not good enough.
All right. Is that true?
No, it seems to be true by references that I have about my past.
Okay. So how do you know you're not good enough, Larry?
Oh, I guess because maybe my hair's too long, or
Okay. So
not blonde enough.
okay. All right. So
I wear funny glasses.
okay, that's great. So I'm not good enough. 0, 10. I'm really not good enough. 0 is not true. How strong is that feeling that I'm not good enough?
Well, right now, believe it or not, maybe about a 4.
Okay.
But for other times when I've been here, it's been as high as, I don't know, 6 or 7, maybe even 8.
What I want you to do, Larry, is I want you to go back. Your not good enough feeling is about a 4. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
maybe even less.
All right. So what I want you to do is see if you can make it stronger. And how I would do it is maybe look at yourself with the glasses on, look at your hair, or remember a time when you interacted with somebody that you felt that you weren't good enough. Can you do that?
Well, yeah, I can do it.
All right, go ahead and do it now. And I want you to feel really, I'm not good enough. Do you have proof? How strong is your feeling?
Yeah, me. The proof is me.
Okay, so when you see you're not good enough?
Well, yeah, basically, with me, it takes a little while to get back to those memories. And that's an interesting part because, when people tell me that I'm on, it's kind of like I just can't dredge up these memories for whatever reason. But now, when something bad happens to me...
Well, something bad happened to you lately? I heard that you don't have a job.
Well, yeah, that's an excellent point, yes. Uh-huh.
You don't have a job, do you,
Yeah,
Larry?
I'm not working at the present time, that's correct.
And does that bother you?
Oh, absolutely it does.
And so you're not good enough to have a job, is that correct?
Oh, well, right.
And how bad does that bother you?
It's probably more 8, 9, or 10.
All right, now
most
notice,
of my focus.
right, now you feel it, and that's true, isn't it? I'm not good enough to have a job.
Right now, no, but when I first came to you and spoke with you
All right,
today
Larry,
before class.
now I want you to create this feeling. I want you to feel like you're not good enough, which I know you're not good enough to have a job because you don't have one.
That's an excellent point. All I got to think, all I got to think about is when the supervisor or manager gets mad at me
Well,
and
look-
says that I do this or that.
Well, think about a supervisor. You have one of those that did that to you?
Yes.
All right, tell us a story. What did he do?
Oh, he told me that. That I had a bad attitude for one thing.
Well, I hear that. I hear people,
yeah,
a lot of people say you have a
or
crappy
he told
attitude.
me that I was too slow in doing my job, or I was too perfectionistic. You need to get that down a little bit faster. So, various things.
And right now, are you good enough? I'm not good enough, are you?
No, I already feel better about it, but I mean.
Well, Larry, I want you to feel bad. I want you. You're working too hard not to feel bad.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
yeah.
Now, I remember just today, you was right over here, and you
no
were
doubt.
feeling really bad.
That's true.
Do it. I'm not good. Say it out loud. I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough. One thing that does happen, until I get to that memory, is that sometimes I'll think about something that I've done, or
Well,
maybe
think
trying to
about
fix
what
a
you did.
bicycle, for instance. One time, I tried to fix my bicycle or fix my car, and I couldn't get it running any better. In fact, it ran worse than before. And I'm thinking, dang, I guess what my dad said about me was probably right.
And what did he say about you?
And he just basically said that I felt, and he didn't really say it. Very seldom did he ever say it, but I always felt that I didn't ever measure up, that I just wasn't good enough. That it was kind of like his way of saying that, can't you do anything right?
All right, and you got that feeling, don't you? You can't do anything right.
Absolutely.
Is that a 10 now?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's probably up there, 8, 9, or 10.
You feel that too, don't you? All right, now how do you?
Yeah.
I'm not good enough is a belief, and of course I'm trying to get him into feeling it, and then he's kind of weaseling around, and he finally found one.
Yeah,
you got
that's
it.
right. I agree.
All
with
right,
that
listen to your
weaseling
dad.
part.
I'm not good enough,
Not good enough. Now, where do I feel that? All over my body.
and I can hear it.
It's
Can you
just
hear it in your voice?
it's just a blah feeling. I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of nausea in the stomach, but it's just a blah feeling just all
All right,
over.
now how does he know? He has proof. He feels it. He feels nausea. It feels all over.
Mostly all
And
over.
then, of course, his proof, he went to a memory with his father and what his father said, and bosses, what they said. Now, notice he's laying on what they say, too, by the way, and also the sensations. This is a real belief. You believe this, too, 100%, is that right?
Oh, exactly. Well, one time I showed up at work without wearing a belt.
Yeah.
And one of the supervisors noticed and said, hey, tomorrow when you come up to work, why don't you put a belt on? So,
Yeah.
I felt bad about that. And, of course, they weren't real mean about it. And that's the interesting thing is it doesn't take much. I suppose it's because I'm so sensitive.
Right.
It doesn't take so much for me to believe bad about myself.
There you go.
Probably
You're good
all,
at it.
probably all, yeah, exactly.
There you go. You
all
should
the
be proud
past
of that.
memories.
Okay.
And
Now, guys, we're going to use, it's so hard for me not to use the fast way to doing it, but I want you to learn the parts and pieces, okay? So everybody just follow, and you know what some of you can feel some of this that we're talking about, isn't that right? All right, feel it. Notice what Larry said. Say this, even though
even though
I have this feeling,
I have this feeling,
I accept myself
I accept myself
totally and completely.
totally and completely.
Even though I have this feeling,
Even though I have this feeling,
it's safe to let it go.
it's safe to let it go.
They're not experts,
They're not experts.
so I release and let it go.
I release and let it go.
This feeling I'm not good enough.
I feel that I'm not good
Those
enough.
words my father said.
Those words that my father
Those feelings
said.
in my stomach.
Those feelings in my
I
stomach.
release and let it go.
I release and let it go.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
Take a deep breath. Peace. Now Larry is really good at feeling not good enough. And of course, Larry goes back to the memories. He replays the memories and refeels what he knows how to produce, okay? It's not true, but to Larry it's true because why? He's believing it. And how does he believe it? He has memories, he has feelings, and he has proof. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the proof, and we're going to start releasing this. You remember whenever, well, this is a new class, but...
Well, I have more proof, too.
Right, I know.
More stories.
I mean, you've been working on it for years.
Well, right. It's just the problem is of bringing these memories up. But I have a couple more.
Well, let's do this. Say, even though
Even though
it's so hard to bring these memories up,
it's so hard for me to bring those memories
it
up.
only reminds me
It only reminds me
how good I feel
of how good I feel
of not being good enough.
of not being good enough.
I release and let it go.
I release and let it go.
I don't want to go back to those memories
I don't want to go back to those
because it
memories.
keeps reaffirming
Because it keeps reaffirming
how good, I see, how I can't remember what the hell it
good
was.
I am about feeling bad.
Yeah, there you go. So I let it go.
I let it go.
Just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. Deep breath. I'm trying to do too much at one time. Peace, because I want to do it all at once. All right, let's do it
'Cause
again.
you want to try to get me to be a better person.
Oh, so I want you, Larry, I want you to go back. I want you to listen to what
Release it
your
all.
father said to you. You remember what he said?
Well, he told me one time that I hope someone knocks the holy living crap out of you because one of these days you're going to run into somebody that will.
All right,
Because they're not going to put up with you.
All right, they're not going to put up with me. Say it out loud.
They're not going to put up with
They're
me.
going to beat me up
They're going to beat me up
because that's how he feels about me.
because that's how he feels about me.
He has his anger,
He has his anger.
and it hurts me
And it hurts me.
that he has all that anger.
That he has all that anger.
My father loved me so much,
My father loved me so much.
he gave me that anger,
He gave me that anger.
and I use it on myself often.
And I use it on myself often.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Deep breath. Now, I want you to understand, when we talk about the structure of love, which we're not going to do that today, his father loved him, and his father loved him the same way his father loved himself. I want you to understand this. All right, his father had to, he taught Larry how to be just like his father. All right, so does that mean Larry's broken? No. His father was his father a bad guy? No. His father had the same program that Larry has, and Larry loves his father so much, he's carrying on the tradition. And so Larry, he's just replayed what father said. His father's not here, and Larry's taking the role.
That's true.
You see it?
I see that part of it.
Say, I release and let it go.
I release and let it go.
I can love my father
I can love my father
and not be mean to me.
and not being mean
My
to me.
father's trying to protect me,
My father's trying to protect me.
and I let it go now.
I let it go now.
I forgive my father,
I forgive my father.
and I forgive myself.
And I forgive myself.
It's safe to let it go.
It's safe to let it go.
Let it
Now-
go.
And it lets you know there's more history to it.
I
here.
know there is. Take a deep breath.
My dad. Okay.
Say peace. Now, I want to stop
Peace.
right here, Larry, and I want to go back to this memory again that you just shared with me.
Okay.
All right, the one about what your father said. Tell me again.
That he said that I hope that you meet somebody one of these days that knocks the holy living crap out of you.
Any emotions with that now when you say it?
No, very little.
Very little. So there's still some, guys. Now, we got, notice how it's easy to move really fast. You've got to make sure when you go address this, make sure it's completely resolved. Because Larry has a lot of proof and references.
Absolutely.
All right. Say, I release and let it go.
I release and let it go.
Let go of the anger,
Let go of the anger,
the rejection,
the rejection,
the feeling of no control,
the feeling of no control,
feeling of not being in control,
the feeling of not being in
helplessness,
control, helplessness,
and rejection.
and rejection.
Let it go. Say peace.
Peace.
Now tell me what your father said.
My father said that one of these days that you're going to meet somebody that's probably going to knock the holy living crap out of you.
Any emotions with that when you hear that?
Well, and maybe even less than just a minute ago, but probably about the same. It probably only about a 3 or a 4.
Well, listen to him again. Listen to his
Or
words.
2 or 3, really.
All right, listen to his words.
Okay.
Hear those words. Notice the emotions you feel with it. Look at his face and notice the expressions. Now notice, guys, I'm going inside his mind now, and I'm having focus on certain aspects, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. Those words.
Well, those words,
His look,
his look,
the attitude,
the attitude,
the emotions here.
the emotions.
Let it go.
Okay.
Deep breath. Say peace.
And peace.
All right, now, again, tell us the story again.
Sure. Well, to know you a little bit more about my dad. and,
Well, I don't want to hear about your
oh,
dad. I just
okay.
want to hear about this story.
Oh, okay. Well, the look on his face that he had was a glaring look.
Can you see that glaring look on his face?
Just a little bit. Not much, but just a
Okay.
little bit.
Now notice we're entering his mind, and these are the pieces, also part of the proof. You see it? All right, that glare. That glare. That
Especially
expression.
glare.
That look. Take a deep breath. Say peace.
Peace.
Now, if Larry was my client and he came to see me, first of all, I would see if Larry would write a list of all these memories, every one that would represent this. And then I would do is I go to each memory and change each memory. Now, Larry's bouncing around, so I got to. You notice I have to keep him right on track. Because what will happen is we'll knock it from a 10 to a 2, but the 2 program is still there. That means Larry will go back and use that glare, and he'll use those words on himself
Later on.
later on. Right. You can, I mean, if you're good enough, if, say, for example, we work these memories down to like a 2, it's harder to get it back to a 10. Now, he may go to another bad experience and feel those feelings, and then he'll look back at that other memory and send those feelings to that and may build it up. It's really hard to do that.
But if you get to a 0, it won't go back.
Not likely, especially if we change the memory to where it's positive.
Put it in affirmation.
Make it positive. You have to change the memory where it has a positive aspect to it. Because, see, in this memory is Larry's how-to. So Larry's watching this memory saying, and I saw that glare on Larry today, by the way. Before he came
did.
in, I could see that. I mean, he was acting just like his father. But he didn't scare me. You know why? I'd already tapped my
You're
dad
not
out of
easily
me.
scared.
So I release and let it go.
I release and let it go.
That look,
That look,
that attack,
that
that
attack,
helplessness,
that helplessness,
that rejection,
that rejection.
let it go. Deep breath. All right, now go back to this memory again, Larry. Tell us what happened.
Okay. Well, my dad came over, and I've got a problem with obsessive compulsive disorder. And
How do you know you have a problem with it?
well, because I keep kind of a rather messy house. I got lots of stuff.
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
Collect things.
Oh, collecting things. Okay.
Well,
All right. Well, so anyway, so here it is. This memory.
Yeah,
Tell me what your dad said.
sure. Well, he
Now
basically.
notice. Now I want you to notice that Larry's still trying to run. He's trying to move right out from the memory. He's trying to avoid this. You kind of see. So you got to keep him on track. You're doing such a good job, Larry. All right. So tell me what exactly happened. This memory we're addressing.
Okay. Well, anyway, my dad, he came over. He got out of the car. Let's see. He knocked on the door, and I didn't want to answer. He
Oh, well,
finally kept knocking, so I finally decided I need to see who it was.
All right.
And there he was. And then he said, "Meet me around the back in the backyard." So he asked me if the gate was locked, and I said, "No, not today." And so he came around the backyard, and he met me, and we proceeded to talk. And my dad had said, he had noticed how messy my house was, and he said, "I don't understand you, son. I don't understand. I don't understand. I thought I taught you better than this." Or it was like, you should know better. I mean, why can't you
Now you
keep...
have emotions right here, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Now notice that
Very strong
the
emotions.
story is changing a little bit. You notice what I went trying to go back to the story, and now it's got the longer story here. And so what I want to do is exactly those words, and we'll go back to this story again. What did he tell you exactly?
Well, he just said, one of these days that someone's going to knock the crap out of you, that you're going to come across somebody that's going to knock the crap out of you.
All right, any emotions with this?
Well, at that time, they were very strong.
I know, but right now, I want you to
Right
make it
now, no, actually only a 2 or 3, probably
All right.
more like a 2.
All right. And how do you know?
Um,
Do you feel it?
well, I guess, yeah, just down the pit of the stomach,
All right.
just a little bit of just uneasiness, not even really nausea, I guess, at this point.
All right, let's do it. That nausea feeling. That feeling in my stomach.
The feeling in my stomach.
Those words.
Those words,
Just let it go.
just let it go.
Just let it go. Deep breath. Peace. Now you can tell that it's already changing because he's already starting to see the full story. You can kind of see how it's kind of, and you notice that the emotions at the first, it was really strong, and now it's almost like it's, yeah. You can hear his voice inflection differently. So let's do it again. He pulls up in the driveway.
Yeah, well, before that, I mean, I also said that, I just felt blasé all over. Right now, I don't feel as bad.
All right,
I
good.
feel
So,
better.
so notice that the belief system is built on feelings and references. Now, of course, Larry has more than one way to having this belief, right? So now sometimes, say for example, I have a fear of spiders, right? Now, fear of spiders usually don't have a lifetime of experiences. If it does, you know what you're going to get to do? Each one of the proofs. You see it? Now, since this is a really global, really lot of lifetime experiences and a lot of proof, and Larry practices this often. So it means he's got some good ruts in how to feel not good enough. Okay? So, but if it's, say for it's a fear of spiders, I feel really strong, and I have a memory when I was a little girl, this boy put a spider down my shirt, or it crawled somewhere, and then when you address this, all of a sudden the belief has totally changed. Now we're talking about a big issue here. This is many roots and causes. So Larry,
Very big issue for me.
one I want to do is I want you to really do this is we will work on this in class here, and you'll be our guinea pig, and we can make these changes, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we're not done with this memory yet. What I want to do is I want to back up, and I want you to walk through, your dad got out of the car.
Can I mention one other thing, though, that might be helpful for other people? You've talked in your classes about memories and how that some people can see them very distinctly, and other people it's kind of like a vague shadow and an outline.
so how's
only.
yours?
I'm one of those people that generally sees things as a very vague outline.
Okay.
Now, am I usually in the memory? No.
But you feel it, but he feels it strongly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you notice when he starts talking about it, he kind of keeps it distant. But you know when you start to hear his voice inflection, you notice that's how you know he's really in it. And you also notice when he started talking, he started darting around. You know, he didn't want to go right to it because there's strong emotion. So we're going to go to this
Absolutely.
memory again, Larry. Your dad's knocking on the door. Any emotions?
Yeah, who is it?
All right, all right.
I just,
Let it go. Who's bothering me, right?
yeah, who's there? Or-
Who's, all right, let it go.
because he said he was going to come over, so
All right,
I
say-
figured it might be him.
say,
I
let it
wasn't
go.
sure.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. So he's knocking on the door. You know it's your dad.
Well, at some point, yes, I finally found
And
out.
any
that it's
emotions
him.
when you know it's your dad?
No, really, there wasn't too many at that point.
Okay, then he's out in the backyard.
Because we were just making small talk there at the door,
Okay.
and then he proceeded to come inside the house, and he noticed what the house looked like, and
Okay.
that's where things changed quickly.
Can you see the change in his face and know that the change happened?
Well, yeah, he just it seemed like he had a little bit of a smile on when he first came over, and then all of a sudden it turned to a frown.
And you see that
kind of
frown?
a long face.
Okay, that long face,
That's one thing I noticed about
that
it.
frown, those emotions, let it go. Take a deep breath. And you notice the story gets bigger now. It's instead of just the backyard, there's all these little pieces.
Well, not
So-
only that, it was just kind of a stone face too.
All right,
it went
that stone face.
non-expressive.
That stone face. That stone face. Now, guys, you notice that when we use the basic technique, we go like this. Even though I have this feeling, I accept myself. So I could have went right back down here and say, even though I have that stone face, even that have. But guys, when you're working on somebody and he said stone face, that stone face, then I aimed at it right then. That stone face, that stone face. And so I'm shortcutting it. We're still aiming, because this is what this is. Even though I saw this stone face, I accept myself. All right, that stone face, that stone face, that stone face. But what I did is a fast tap. What I did is he said, that stone face, and I had him aim at it right then. I said, that stone face. Let it go, let it go, let it go. So it's still doing the same thing, but we're aiming directly at whatever it is. That sensation. Do you understand it? Because, see, oftentimes I'll have a client, and I've done this, and even a friend of mine and I've worked and made major changes in her life. She's sitting on the massage table. At the time I was a massage therapist, and I'd use this tapping. And I saw a look on her face that wasn't a good look. And I said, that feeling, that feeling, that feeling, that feeling. And there was a big, major shift in her body, in her mind. She has no idea what it was, but when she went home, she said, that changed my life. What you want to do is be perceptive and looking and hearing. And when they say it right then, sometimes if you wait to say, even though I have that, it could, the state or the trance will disappear. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cover next week, what is hypnosis? What is a trance? Because I want you to realize all problems are trances, hypnotic states. Now Larry, he's going into a trance now. He's going in, his father's there, he's feeling all those emotions of something that does not exist. It's not here. Matter of fact, your father's already passed, hasn't he?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So this is made up. Yes, I know it happened, but it's not real anymore. And when you understand, everything inside of our minds are not real. But we believe it's real, and the reason why we believe it's real is because we feel it. If the feeling isn't there, it's not real. That's what makes it seem real. And then you got to, and also the pictures there too. We got to change the image too to where it's what we want.
Robert, when you first taught us, You'd have us identify where it feels in the body. But I notice you're not going to that necessarily with him. Like stone face is enough to start working on
Right,
it.
because he's already in it then. He's seeing the image in his mind. So right then, see, we operate with pictures, feelings, and sounds.
Is Larry
It's
kinesthetic?
a
Is that why
it's
he
a very
doesn't?
mild image, though.
Well, but he's there when he's there.
But his feelings is strong. So is he kinesthetic but doesn't visualize well?
He's all of it. We're not one or the other. We use them all at the same time.
Okay, I thought he might be dominant kinesthetic.
It
believe
doesn't really.
Well, believe it or not, I felt like that I've been mostly visual, but I don't know.
We're all of it at the same time. But the key is whatever they're doing is correct.
The reason I asked you that, do you
Go ahead.
okay, in NLP, if he was kinesthetic, you would talk to him in feeling terms. If he was visual, you talk to him do you pay attention to that?
No, that's not important right now. Because go ahead and put it on mute. Now, when I do this, what is this doing? What is it addressing? The feeling, which is kinesthetic. All right? Now, what makes it seem real? The body's reaction. We are all kinesthetic. Now, we may use our auditory to create it, or we may use our picture, but the feelings always follow. We're all of it at the same time. And see, and that's reason this tapping addresses the pictures, the feelings, and the sounds all at the same time. It's what you do inside.
But even the feelings, at this very time, since you brought me up here, weren't all that strong. But I said normally it's like an 8, 9, or 10.
Right, but it did get strong when you went there.
And it got a little bit stronger, but not too much.
Well, it got up to about an 8. What you said earlier.
Well,
Could be, I don't know. But anyway, when you sit,
the problem with me is once I walk through this door and attend a class like this, any negative emotions and feelings I have generally subside just from the information that you're sharing.
Well, I understand that, Larry. Let's do this. Even though I still run from it,
I still run
I
from
still
it.
tuck it behind.
I still tuck it behind.
It's okay to expose my emotions.
It's okay to expose my emotions.
It's okay to let it go.
It's okay to let it go.
It's okay in here
It's okay to let it go.
because we're all here to heal.
Because we're all here to heal.
That's why I keep coming back.
That's why I keep coming back.
And I let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Now I'm addressing what his belief is, whatever that was.
So what you're saying basically is that the emotions haven't come up, but in due time, they'll all come up.
Whenever you went there, Larry, they started showing up. I mean, you heard it.
No,
didn't
I'm
you?
talking about it in a very strong way when we talk about people having emotional breakdowns.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, Larry, this memory, how's it feel? I mean, the words that your father said, does it bother you at all?
Yeah, 1 or 2, and that's it.
All right. All right, now, let's do this. Can you imagine seeing you and your father in that experience? Just pretend like...
I've been trying, and
Well, all I want you-
basically the only thing that I really see is not so much the stone face, but just kind of the glare in his eye.
Okay.
And that and the words that he used.
Okay. All right,
were
now this
enough.
is what I want you to do, Larry. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to change this memory, okay? This time, it's that smile when he opened the door, that glare, that nice look in his face. I want you to see that, and I want you to hear him say something nice to you. Can you do that? And I want you to receive it, Larry.
You want me to tell you what he
No,
said?
no, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's just you, Larry.
Okay.
Just feel it. And I want you to send that feeling back to your dad. And just tell him how much you do love and care for him. Got it? All right, take a deep breath. It's okay, let it go, Larry. Let it go. Thank you, Larry. Give Larry a hand. Thank you, Larry. There's all kinds of different personalities types. And you got to and when you start working with people, you're going to find out there's some real easy ones. And there's some they're going to be chasing the trails, And so what you really need to do is like what I was doing with Larry, keep going back to that same trail because he wanted to dance around. And you're going to find that you're going to have clients like that. And Larry is very smart in his mind. So you just have to realize that this is how it works. Do you understand what a belief is? Does that make logical sense? A belief is something we create within us, okay? And how do you have problems? Problems are built and created based on our past, based on the emotions and feelings we hold inside. Okay, does that make sense? What is real? What's real, guys?
This moment.
Right now is real. Larry went to the past, and it felt like it was real. Because why? One, he had feelings. Two, he had proof and memories and sensations and voices and all these feelings. It felt real now. Reality is the past doesn't exist. And right now you can feel anything you want by imagining and creating the feelings associated with whatever it is. Reality is right now. And the problem is, the reason why we have problems is because we hadn't released our past and our emotions. Yeah, again, this is a good concept, and this is what I operate from. Memories buried alive never die. Buried alive means whenever you put it on a memory stored in your mind, if it has the feelings, the emotions, the auditory, and the sensations in that memory, it has the ability to control you. That's why when we go back to memories, we want to pull the emotions out, we want to pull the feelings out, and we want to restructure it to where it's a positive. Now that's what I try to do with Larry. Now of course I have time restraints, and so that's what I want to make sure is do some cleaning. Now I asked Larry to do a list, and that's what we want to do is work on Larry. Guys, if you have issues, say, hey, I have something I want to work with because I want you to heal too. And I definitely want to work on all of you on being up here, right here at the mic. Because I want you to be powerful. I want you to help more people. And I want you to overcome your fears. Because whatever you fear becomes your master. And I don't know about you. I don't want to be a slave or a servant to any fear. I mean, I couldn't even be in front of a group. No way. But I just kept working on me. And there's still little triggers. I had some triggers this last weekend.
No, I saw you.
Oh, did you?
I thought it happened. I saw how red and flustered. Like, okay.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah, it took you about 15 minutes. To work
Yeah.
out.
But anyway, does that kind of make sense, guys? All right, this is what I want you to do. I want you to start reading your book up to page 30, I believe.
Which book?
Oh, your course book.
This one. Okay.
Yeah, your course book. And I want you to know about the healing attitudes. Guys, go back to the healing attitudes, know about that. And understand what a belief is, what our problems are, what is real. Okay? Now, does that sound good? All right, now that's what I want you to read. The first part, read the healing attitudes. And then we'll cover what you've already read next week. Sound good? Hey guys, come tomorrow. That's a good seminar. It'll change your life. And also you'll understand and see more. All right, guys.